We're going to stand for the pledge and have a prayer. If you're not comfortable with that, you can excuse yourselves from the room until we're done, and then you can come back in, all right? Jason?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Victor, would you lead us in prayer tonight?
Yes.
God in heaven, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've allowed us to be in today. We thank you for everything that you're doing here in the San Luis Valley. We thank you for the guidance that you've shown us. We ask for your protection here. We ask for your guidance and we ask for your mercy and your grace. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, Unita?
Counselor Lorenz.
Here.
Counselor Watson.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye. Here.
Counselor
I'm here.
Counselor Howard. Counselor Howard is at CML and is excused for this evening, and a quorum is declared.
Okay, do we have any modifications to the agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, approval of consent agenda. Minutes of regular meeting from June 6th, 2024. And review and approval of accounts payable.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Seconded. Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Minutes of regular meeting from June 6th, 2024, and review and approval of accounts payable. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Lorenz.
Yes.
Counselor Watson.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. Proclamation, communications and appointments. And the swear-in deputy clerk, Sarah Doyle.
Yeah, right. You should run them. I should ask you. Okay. So I'd like you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Sarah Doyle. I, Sarah Doyle. Do solemnly swear and affirm. Do solemnly swear and affirm. Under the penalty of perjury. Under the penalty of perjury. That I will support the Constitution. That I will support the Constitution. And the laws of the United States of America. And the laws of the United States of America. And the state of Colorado. And the state of Colorado. And that I will support the charter and the ordinances. And I'll support the charter and the ordinances. Of the city of Monte Vista. Of the city of Monte Vista. And the county of Rio Grande. And the county of Rio Grande. And that I will faithfully perform the duties of deputy clerk. And I will faithfully perform the duties of the deputy clerk. In which I am about to upon. In which I am about to enter. In which I'm about to enter. Congratulations. Sign this. Thank you, it's an honor. Yes, sorry, I'm a little disoriented. Oh, man.
Okay, just the job moves that to you.
Yeah, I think how. I need to sign this.
Yeah, you think you ramp up now, wait till you have to do the job.
Congratulations. Sorry.
So much. It's an honor. Thank you. And then this one's for you. Yay.
Congratulations.
So you all know she is doing an absolutely amazing job. No, it's that a wonderful teacher, so that helps, you know. Okay. This student is mad.
Okay, we'll move on to citizen comments and special presentations. Citizen comments, city council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And council will not take action at this same meeting. Any comments, citizen comments? Mr. Richards? You sure and sign our paper up there?
You need a pen?
Yes. Oh, wait, my bad. Good evening, council.
Good evening.
My name is Bob Richards. And I am here to give you a status update on the theaters as well as a request about them. So we had our last movie this past weekend, and
The attendance, well, we promoted as being the last movie in the theaters temporarily and sort of left it open-ended. I did get tons of questions from folks in line before the movies about what the fate of the theaters would be. I did take the opportunity to address the audiences before each one of the shows and gave them just sort of my best assessment as to what has to happen moving forward. There also is up on our radio station websites a podcast that I did about why we made the decision not to exercise our purchase agreement and various other information that's up there as well. So if anybody has any questions, you can refer them to those websites. There seemed to be some satisfaction that we tried as hard as we could from those who came to the movies. We had, if the crowds that we had this past weekend had been showing up on a regular basis, we'd have exercised our purchase and not had any issues. But as you all know, that was not the case. So there's that. I do have my keys to turn in. Not sure who to do that with since Gigi's not here. I will get them to you in just a minute. Thank you, ma'am. And then the final thing I have is a question. I've been going through a lot of insurance policies, both for the radio station and for the entertainment company. We started a separate company to do the theaters for a lot of different reasons. And so that company is now sort of taken out of the mix. But what I'm curious about is I think that I might have an opportunity to do movies on a periodic basis in the theater by making them radio station promotions instead of theater events. So by making it a radio station promotion, not unlike we do job fairs where we rent a city venue and have a job fair or a flea market, I'm wondering if there isn't a way for us to rent the theaters on a periodic basis when a bigger movie comes out. And what I'm sort of targeting in my brain is Gladiator 2 is going to be out Labor Day weekend. It's going to be a huge movie. And the way it works is if I go and try to rent a movie from a movie company, they're going to not only charge me for the movie, obviously, but they're also going to require a minimum 2-week run. So my question to the council is, I don't believe there's anything on the books to allow somebody to rent the theaters on a periodic basis. I would be interested in knowing what it might cost me to rent the theaters for 2 consecutive weeks so that I can put shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And obviously, at that point, I would staff the theater with radio station employees, which covers me from a liability standpoint and also from a workers' comp standpoint. They're already insured by the radio stations. And I would like the ability to not only ticket those shows, but also run the concessions stand. Obviously, I've got experience doing that, and I think I might be able to make sense out of doing periodic shows depending on what that rental fee would look like. And so I've got pretty much the equation mapped out. The only missing piece is what it's going to cost me to rent the theaters. And in order to get this done in time for Labor Day, I sort of need that answer in the next week or so. So I know you can't give me an answer tonight. We can't talk about it tonight, but I'd be curious what that rental fee might look like. And then I can make a better determination whether or not I can continue to put shows on a periodic basis in the theater.
Have you discussed this with Gigi yet?
Have not. I just
Okay.
sort of fell into it today.
When does Gigi get back from the conference?
Monday.
Monday?
Because, I mean, she's gonna be the real driving force on
Sure.
what we can and can't do.
Someone can though, I think it'd be pretty nominal after all you've already put into the theater. I think that would only be fair to, if you wanna
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm gonna be using electricity, right?
Oh, yeah.
In
No,
the
I-
wintertime, there'll be heat. I'm not looking for a free ride here.
No, I'm
I
not
get
saying
it,
it for
but
you, right, but I'm saying but like you said, essentially electricity for whatever that would be, which I can't see it being very much.
Do you have an idea of what that would be like? The
What do you
run
mean?
the electricity for a night?
I don't,
Couple-
and it's gonna be something we're gonna need to figure out because I know that you are renting to Bobelicious Coffee and they're taking over the utility bills. However, that projector needs to be plugged in and running 24/7. And so I don't know what kind of electricity it takes, but my feeling is it shouldn't be on them to have to pay for that, but it's gonna be part of their bill moving forward. I'm sure the company that we pay $125 to a month for the projector maintenance can answer that question for you pretty easily, and if you would like me to reach out to them, I'd be happy to do that. That's your question?
In the interest of time, it'd probably be good if you reached out.
Okay.
Found out.
Sure.
Yeah, like I said, we're kind of handicapped until Gigi gets back, but I would say move forward with getting as much information as you can to
Okay.
bring it to her so that it can be established pretty quick.
Yeah.
Since you are on a time frame.
Okay.
Me personally, I wouldn't have any issue, but it's Gigi like that.
Right. So that's what I would say for sure.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that, Bob.
Yeah.
Any other citizen comments? No. Okay. You like to say anything to your?
Do I need to sign this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sign it and state your name for everybody that's out there listening or watching.
I'm Scott Wiedemann, Superintendent of Monte Vista School District. I just wanted to say a few things. First of all, I know there's an issue with the trees by the golf course, and there's a presentation by Mr. Spielman, who I respect with everything that I have. And I know there's a lot of history behind a lot of things here in Monte Vista, and I would never, ever want to intentionally do that. But there are a couple of trees on our golf course that are overhanging onto our track. That is a GoCo granite track that people use year round. And we just resurfaced this. Cost us about $175,000 to redo it, which we have to do about 10 years, every 10 years anyway. So that's basically what happened to the old track. It needed to be redone anyway. However, that one corner over there where the sap and the sticks and everything fall on it becomes black. And it's hard to see the lines about the last 2 or 3 years on that side. That's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is the safety of our community and our students and staff that use that track during the school year, throughout the entire year. We've had already branches of 3 to 4 inches around fall on that track, and somebody happened to be walking under that on that thing, there could be some serious injury. That is our request, talking with Gigi and the city of Monte Vista to do something with those where it doesn't jeopardize the safety of some of our students and staff and community too that use that. It's used pretty regularly too.
That's the two monsters right there on the.
The
tee off.
2 monsters on number 3 tee box. They're huge.
Across.
And number one, the biggest, I mean, I don't know how long those trees last. They've been here since I've been here.
They're
I've been
probably
here for
100 years
55
old.
years. And they've been there for a long time, and they've gone, so I don't even know how long cottonwood will last. And I know they do get hollow. I haven't researched it, but the ones that concern me the most, other than the whole thing falling over, which we've had before, I would imagine, is the one that overhang the track that could break off, and there's some that are 15, 20 inches around that could fall and seriously hurt someone. So I just wanted to make sure, we talked about it as a school board. In fact, we talked about it last Monday. But I just wanted to bring that up. Just really the safety concern that I have for people. So any questions?
Have you talked to the golf course ball on it? How do they feel?
Well,
I'm
there's
sure
some that
there
are
are
totally
contentions
against it,
there,
and I get it, I understand why, I do, I understand why. I'm a golfer, and I understand it, but I gotta look at it from a safety standpoint.
I wonder if we come to, if they want to keep, if we come to some kind of compromise as far as like.
I would be
cutting
willing-
them way back.
I would be willing to do anything, yeah, I would be willing to do anything. Then, do something like that than nothing,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
And we would even actually try to work with GG in the city to help maximize that. I know we have a huge, city has a huge grant with new trees coming in and stuff like that. But maybe we can work that in there, or, we'd be willing to help out some of the costs to get that.
Even if, because I think you have to.
Safer.
I think you'd have to stage it in some way where it's like off season, golf course season, where they can go in and wreck those things up
Yeah.
without tearing up the course so bad, but.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. All right, now we'll go ahead and move to scheduled appearances. In order to be included on this portion of the agenda, you have to fill out appropriate paperwork with the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting. Mr. Spillman.
Take me a while to get up. Thanks for giving me a spot on today's agenda. For the record, my name is Charles O. Spielman Jr., and I represent the 5th generation of my family to call Monte Vista home. When a stranger asks me if I've lived here long, I'm apt to say, except for 50 years, I've lived here all my life. That 50 years is a whole other story, as they say. I'm here today to petition the council to pause its current plan to cut down this month 2 century-old cottonwood trees on the Monte Vista Golf Course, apparently in the belief that they are diseased and in danger of falling. I'm not alone in this. I've brought over 103 to be exact, signatures of people who support the petition. As you might expect, but about half, 49% of the petitioners are Monte Vista golfers. The other 9% are Monte Vista residents, and about 20% identified as both Monte Vista golfers and Monte Vista residents. Surprisingly, about 22%, like me, listed tree lover as their basis for signing. As to the petition itself, Part 1 calls for a halt in the city's plan to cut down the trees in June to give us time to engage a tree expert to core the trees and use the results and his expertise to assess their viability and longevity. Part 2, if the expert determines the trees should be cut down in 2024, we ask that it be done in October rather than in June, in the middle of the golf course's centennial golfing season. Part 3, we propose that as long as one or both of the trees are to remain standing, the golf course pay for the purchase and placement of a fabric cover to protect the adjacent running track from sap damage. I think that cover could be, I talked with the canvas people on North Broadway, and they gave me a quote of around $1,800 for a 200-foot stretch, which I think should cover the heavily damaged part of the track. So that's it. Simple, easy, and relatively inexpensive. And to the best of my knowledge, the city has not had the trees cored, and our proposal provides a critical added element to the decision to cut or not. Here's a current picture of the trees. They look very healthy, but coring should determine if the tree's appearance is misleading. I don't know if you've seen the trees recently, but
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful.
if you were to ask the prop master to send over a couple of good looking cottonwoods, you'd probably get those too. They look very healthy. But as we all know, trees rot from the inside out, and so coring is an absolute essential to determine how long they're gonna last or whether they should be cut. Thanks for allowing me to make this pitch. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them if I can.
Well, Charles, how do you feel about if the cores come back and it's actually a solid, good tree, both of them are solid?
Say it again.
If we did do a core and we found out that they were good, solid trees, I mean, how would you feel about still pruning the tree back a little bit just to prevent it
I
from
think
getting
that's
so much?
quite feasible, yes.
And not kill
So
the
that
tree?
some of the limbs don't hang over the track.
Exactly, just something where we can prune it back, take care of your issue. We got the monarch still on the golf course, if they're still good trees, if we do a core and come back that they are solid trees. Obviously, if there's rot and stuff like that, then they probably do need to come down, but.
As it turns out, I have quite a history of cutting down trees, perhaps more than the average person. I was on a crew at the mountain community where our cabin is, and about 10 of us spent a day and a half and cut down at least 100, maybe 150 good aspen. It didn't bother me at the time, but it has bothered me ever since. And it fell my lot when I was on the city council to make the decision whether to cut down a big cottonwood in the yard of the old high school. I listened to the people that said, well, they're old and they're bound to be diseased. So I gave the okay to have them cut down. I think there's still a slab of that tree left in my flower garden where I used to live on Truman. It turned out to be solid wood all the way through. There was no rock whatsoever. There seems to be a tendency among us humans to want to cut down trees too soon.
Well, I feel we need it.
Yeah.
I like saving, especially big monarchs like that, because if you crop them back, they'll start regrowth so much. And you get all that photosynthesis happening again. You know, an older big tree, they don't photosynthesize as fast as younger trees do. But when you crop them back and they start regrowing, they do pretty well. So,
Considering how beautiful and how valuable trees are, it's strange why we feel that propensity to cut them down too soon. I never figured that out. I spent last week with my kids up at our cabin, and I was horrified to find out that there's a tree by the inn and restaurant there, an aspen tree that always looked very healthy to me. It had a 8-foot circumference, about a 2.5-foot diameter trunk. And when I drove past the inn, I was flabbergasted to see they didn't cut the tree down, they topped it. They wanted to leave the trunk, but I think that if the tree's not dead, it soon will be. What a shame. So our petition is aimed at keeping the trees, but also keeping the track usable. I think the cover that I'm talking about is wouldn't hamper too much the people that walk on the track from time to time, but could be pulled off when they're using it for a track meet. That's the idea, at least.
Charlie, you said something about having an arborist come in, and I know with that Forest Service grant, there's an arborist involved in that, but are you guys gonna be looking for somebody to come in, a tree expert to come in and? look at
We
that?
have done that already. I worked with Kirby Self, and he found a guy named Sam Scavo, I think that's the way you pronounce his name, to do the coring and also provide the expertise to.
okay, so this
Provide
is
the
already
good-
in motion. This is
Say again?
this is already in motion and being done now, or?
We've got it lined up. Sam has not given us a date as when he could start, but he is lined up and has agreed to do the work for us.
Okay,
Anything else?
anybody else, questions?
No, thank you,
Okay.
Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Takes me a while to get on track. Apparently, yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's not for the weak-hearted, that's for sure.
I celebrated my 90th birthday last October.
Yeah.
Happy late birthday.
I invited 60 of my closest friends to dinner at the Friar Sport. And I was picked that restaurant because for several reasons. It's a great restaurant. And that happened to be the building where my first wife and I got married.
Oh, really?
All right. We're gonna move on to letter of support for the Environmental and Climate Justice Community Change Grants Program. DJ's on to present that.
Good evening, council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the package, you have a letter of support from the city to CU Anschutz for the Lariat Ditch project. And originally I was gonna have Unita present to this. However, during discussions with their grant manager and with the grant writer today, while we were working through the grant, they identified that we probably should not be a partner and we would end up basically being a contractor with the CU to get the funds to pay for the project. We need to be a subrecipient because otherwise we would have to actually fill out an RFP to compete for the management of the project. A general contractor or somebody like that could step in and do those things. And it's like that for the counties, for the other projects that are going on as well. And the SLV Eco Council, they would all have to compete for their project. So they want to change us into being a subrecipient of the grant as well as a partner in both. And what that would entail is a contract that we would have to sign saying that if we got it, then we would agree to be a subrecipient. There's a similar contract later in the agenda today for the tree grant. And so due to July 4th and all of the other things that are going on for the next couple of weeks, council's kind of got some big gaps. And so I would ask for a motion that would allow Gigi to review the sub-award contract once it comes in from CU and then sign it if it is sufficient and meets all of our needs so that we can submit around the July 5th timeline. The reason we don't want to wait until later, even though the grant is open for a longer period of time, or there are two very large projects coming in from Denver that will be competing in the beginning of August. And we really do not want to have our project compete with two other competitive projects in Denver. Their demographics, their projects are all very similar. So we want to get ahead of that curve so that way we have a higher probability of success. In addition to that reason, we also have the ability to submit this grant up to 3 times. So if we submit on July 5th, which is the first go round, and we get told we have to change something, we can resubmit still in time to beat that Denver or those 2 Denver projects from going in. So it's kind of about positioning ourselves to be the most successful. So I came on today to ask, number one, that you allowed Gigi to sign the letter of support so that we can be a partner. But then also that we could allow her to review and then sign that sub-award contract once CU finishes doing up the language. And I apologize for the lateness of this. This came up literally today. That was when their grant writer came back and said we might need to relook at doing it a different way.
DJ, does this still offer us the ability to kind of change things or whatnot as far as like making it work for everybody to where you can?
Yeah, either way, we would be able to do that. It gives us a little more control. The danger of not being a sub-awardee would be that we could potentially not get the project. It could go to, say, Alcon or an irrigation, like a company that does just that. And then they would be stuck with, or they would probably be going with what is in the original proposal. This will allow us to make some changes, yes, which we do have 2 to 3 potential changes set up. I think I've discussed that with a couple of you guys as far as like just some different layouts.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to submit for the original map under the understanding that most federal grants are only funded at 90%. And some of the changes that were requested or identified by the community would be, that would be where the first 10%, if we had to lose some, we would take from that and then start at a different place and kind of address some of those concerns.
Okay,
if
so
we
we're
got-
not so set in stone with it or anything like that if you follow through with this.
No, we're not set in stone with it. There's lots of different options as far as that goes.
Okay,
Just, we have to submit an original project and then justify any changes as long as we don't break the budget, which was actually, originally it was gonna be 10 million and right now we're sitting 11.6 million.
You wanna make a motion?
I have a conflict of interest, so I'm gonna abstain either way.
well, even if we make a motion and you abstain, then we don't have a quorum to make a vote anyway.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
There's no
three.
three.
Oh, okay. How afraid of it. How do you feel about it?
So. I think that if we're gonna try to get a grant to get it completed,
More solidified as far as the plan goes and stuff like that?
I think we need to jump on it.
I think so too. As long as there's room for deviation and we can start making it work for other people and try and fit it into it. Probably get them started on it, you know. I know a
And
lot.
inside the grant to ease that part of it, Brad, and I'm sorry, Counselor Watson. There is $50,000 for community engagement and input inside the grant. So we'll have another meeting about, finalizing some of the plans if and when we get the grant money.
Okay, as long as the public gets a chance to kind of, have another viewpoint on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm for it. So how would I motion that? What is it?
It's we want to make a motion to have Gigi review the documentations that they're sending to us.
That's why I'm asking. It's like, I don't even know how to.
And then for Gigi,
DJ, why don't you repeat that, well, how you, when you said that, please?
A motion to have GG Genesis City Manager review and approve the subawardee contract from CU.
so moved.
Yeah, so moved. Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to have the city manager review and sign said contract. Is there any more discussion? Anita?
Counselor Lorenz,
Abstain.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries 3 yeses and an abstain to allow for Gigi Dennis to review, to approve and sign the letter of support and approval for the sub-recipient / partner for the CU grant.
Thank you. Thank you, DJ.
Yeah, thank you, DJ.
Thank you, Council.
Okay, we are gonna move on to naming of the public works street sweeper. Anita?
But you're gonna say I have a conflict of interest.
So when Public Works purchased the street sweeper, we put out on Facebook a naming contest. We put out a questionnaire to see what people would like to name the street sweeper. And we received 15 names back. And we took those 15 names and we took them around the office and we took it to Public Works. And we reduced it down to the 3 names that are in front of you. Duster the Buster, Vroom Vroom, and Sweeping Beauty. And it's now up to you guys to pick the winner. what we'll do is when you guys all pick the winner, I will contact the winner. And then the next meeting, we'll have the name printed up and placed on the street sweeper. We'll bring the street sweeper out and we'll have a picture taken with the winner. And then the winner will get a $50 gift certificate to their favorite restaurant here in town. Jason didn't win. By the way.
What?
Sorry.
Jason, you're not getting the name. Bummer.
Oh, darn.
So,
Had a good one. Human resources still there.
No, she left. She got too embarrassed already.
Found a conflicts of interest to be in.
so Rob, looks like your new street sweeper is sweeping beauty.
We should get Rob's face with the blonde wig on.
Wouldn't that be great? Fabio out, Rob, and put his picture on the side. I would drive around following that street sweeper.
It's like Rob, like Fabio, but Rob. You know?
Fabio.
Rob Pipio.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to resolutions. Resolution 2024-9. Closure of railroad crossings at Highway 160 in Faraday, Highway 160 in Franklin. Mr. Vance.
Good evening, council. Tonight, we're asking, council to go ahead and make a decision of whether or not to formally close those two streets at the rail crossings right there off of 160. That would be Faraday and Franklin. We have held a public meeting, month ago, I guess it was. People were able to talk about it, went ahead since that meeting, reconfirmed with the emergency services that those roads are still okay. To be closed, that it would not drastically impede any of the emergency services. They've all confirmed that it does not. Most of them don't even use those two roads. They will either go Lyle or Faraday. So I guess open any questions you might have. The railroad is still willing to do the things that we have originally talked about as far as helping us close those intersections. And then they, as a partnership, they will assist us and them in our choosings of upgrading two other crossings.
So I got to the first part of that meeting, but I had to take off. What was the room like?
There was some, I would say it was more that it was okay than those that were opposed. We're not impacting any one group of people more than a block. So if you live on Franklin, all the residents on Franklin can simply move one block and can still get to 160. Same thing with Faraday. There's technically only 3 houses in that area. And it's a dirt road. And they can just simply turn, go over to Stallo and hit 160. It's a block. So nobody's being impacted more than a block, 350 feet. So.
I know I'd made comment about like using parking or whatever on like the easement. But then it was brought up that that street that runs east and west on the south side of the track.
Correct.
That is in.
That's railroad property.
Okay, so is that,
They have not said anything about closing that street.
okay, so we still can do what we need to do on it and there's no issue or problem.
Correct. And we've been maintaining that road for well over 25 years. So we grade that road, we take care of it, keep it smooth. So, and that goes all the way from Fourth there at Franklin, all the way down to where it ties into Faraday. So we maintain all of that.
If this goes forward, how soon will that change happen?
So the road is slated to be closed July 24th. So 1 month from today. I have signs if you do choose to move forward. We've already made signs and we have them at Public Works that will post that on the roads. So all the citizens will have a solid 30 days, plus we had the initial ones before the public hearing. That were up there, so we have really, they're orange, they look like construction signs. And it'll tell that this section of the road will be closed and the effective date.
Have we thought about the growth of Monte Vista? Do you think, because we have houses being built?
There's nothing that's really infill on either one of those areas. So especially like on Faraday, the way the property goes, the highway and 6th Avenue, which are kind of your boundaries, those kind of narrow up right there. So Faraday from 6th Avenue to the highway is roughly 2.5, 3 blocks at most. That's all it is. So there's not any real chances because from that dirt road there, if you remember where Lewis's car sales was, from that point towards the highway, that is pretty much all railroad property. So there is no development possibilities in that area. What's already from that point to 6th is already infilled, and the same thing over on Franklin, from where that dirt road is south, it's already infilled. So there is no great chance of anything other than just taking an existing lot and redeveloping a home there. But you're not adding it.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-9, closing the railroad crossings at Highway 160 in Faraday and Highway 160 in Franklin.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2024-9, closure of railroad crossings at Highway 160 in Faraday and Highway 160 in Franklin. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve resolution 2024-9, closure of railroad crossing at Highway 160 in Faraday and Highway 160 in Franklin.
All right, thank you, Council.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, we're going to contracts, agreements, and leases. Contract with TANF for Kids Connection. Nika?
Good evening, council. Before you should have a copy of the Rio Grande DSS contract that provides Kids Connection with $68,400 in our 1-year contract with them. I'm not sure if you've seen this contract before. Usually it just goes to the city manager, they sign it and send it back. But Gigi wanted you guys to have eyes on the contract and see what it looked like. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have. It's one of our larger supporters of funding for Kids Connection throughout the years.
How long have they been supporting?
As long as I've been here, I think probably about 15 years. There is always the question of whether or not TANF funding is going to be there every single year. So there was a little bit of talk that there could be some potential for TANF funding to be reallocated to different avenues. So we have that in the back of our mind that there is a possibility that we may not end up with the full 68,400. But for the time being, we should be good to go. And the way it breaks down is they reimburse us $6 per child per day that we have in our care. So I send them a report every month. And it's a breakdown of how many kids we have walk through our doors, how many individual children that we see each month. And then we multiply that whole number by $6 per child and send them a bill for that to be reimbursed.
Make a motion to approve the NF contract for 2024 Gates Connection.
Seconded.
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the contract with Tana for the Kids Connection and have Gigi Dennis sign it, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the contract with TANA for Kids Connection and allow city manager Gigi Dennis to sign.
Thank you, Anika. Okay, we have an IGA with Colorado State Patrol for dispatch services for the PD. We refer to you as chief or lieutenant.
Lieutenant, I guess. I'm still getting used to lieutenant, so. But I'm here to talk about the State Patrol dispatch contract, for the PD. So just a little bit about the services they provide, it all encompassing dispatching services. So the most common obviously is gonna be the radio. I apologize I didn't get these to you guys, but the actual incident count that we got from State Patrol for the month of May was 735 incidents that were reported to the PD. Now that's not including every single time we use the radio, that's just the calls for service, traffic stops, stuff like that. So we're pretty busy taking calls and doing traffic, all that good stuff. But the dispatching services are a lot more than just the radio. They're key in officer safety. We having some car in the middle of the night, having the radio there, be able to contact people, stuff like that is key for our peace of mind. But they also provide a lot of other services. So if we need to run somebody for warrants or restraining orders, they provide all that. They put it all in their CAD notes. They send us the CAD notes of the times laid out with everything, all the information that we need, so that way we can do our reports and file charges, all that good stuff. They provide 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365 coverage, so we never have to worry that somebody's not there. Somebody's always on the radio. They retain, it says 3 months in here, but we need audio tapes of recordings, things like that. They provide all that stuff. So it's a lot more than just our radios that they do for us. The total cost of the contract is $315,910.60. But that's over a period of 5 years. That'll start in 2025 and go through 2029. So I mean, it's broken down there fiscally 53,000 till 2029, 73,000. I'm not exactly sure how they come up with that number, but I know it says here that they have some sort of formula. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. They have some sort of formula that's where our total output and total work that they put into our calls and things like that is how they determine how they come up with the numbers. So I think that's about it. Is there any questions?
Seems like a bargain.
I'm sorry, what's
Seems like a bargain. You know, to have
it really is
24 hours a day.
I know when we had our dispatch, to pay full time for somebody's salary and benefits and stuff, it ended up being a lot more. And when we had our dispatch, I was brand new, so I don't know the details, but I know that this is a bargain compared to the services that we're getting, so.
Oh, yeah, that's running on dispatch, it costs us 3-4 times as much.
That's one person 8 hours a day. Know what I mean, for a year, maybe. Know what I mean?
And so because they were short-staffed, we have us, Del Norte PD and South Fork kind of all on the same radio channel. So it's kind of hectic when we're busy and when they're busy, stuff like that, but it's worked out pretty good so far, so.
You did very good presenting that.
It's
You answered all the
picking up,
questions.
so the past couple weeks has been ridiculous, and so I'm hoping new chief comes soon, we can get through Stampede and I can get back to my normal job and helping more on the road and stuff like that, so. But
I make a motion to approve the IGA with Colorado State Patrol or dispatch services for PD.
Second,
And we need to have city manager sign that.
what's that?
Who signs that contract? Is it you?
It'll be me.
Okay. You two,
It's been moving second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded to, approve the IGA contract with Colorado State Patrol for dispatch services for the PD. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the IGA with Colorado State Patrol for dispatch services for the Monte Vista PD.
Thank you.
Thank you. Contract for Sustainable Forestry Initiative USDA Urban Forest Grant.
Council, DJ asked me to go ahead and present this to you. As you know, we did receive a $1 million grant from Urban Forestry through the U.S. Forest Service, and this is to survey, assess, remove, and plant trees over the next 4 years. In the packet, City Council, you have a draft contract from the Sustainable Forestry Initiative. The way they did that is so the Forest Service wasn't trying to do all of the individual grants that they awarded. They chose 3 or 4 different larger groups to manage 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. So we're part of this Sustainable Forestry Initiative. We've been waiting almost a year to actually get to this point to get the contract. The draft contract is essentially all of the information that we need and require, except for it has DJ as the signatory. He's already gone and requested they redo this, so Gigi is the signatory. With the contract being set to be in effect by the end of June, and with the holiday and scheduled council meetings, we ask that you approve for Gigi to be the signatory and provide permission for her to sign the contract once it is amended, so that we can begin the process of requesting proposals and begin the project. I'm open for any questions you might have.
Many trees is $1 million.
500 trees over the next 4 years. So our first part of the project is a tree inventory and assessment of the city-owned trees. And then go from there, start making a plan for removals for those that need to be removed and plantings in those areas where we have drought, such as Terra del Sol over here, Ray Scaff's Trail, some of those. The golf course now is a potential one, see where that goes. So.
Any other questions? If I remember right, Rob, on that, the city will have so many that we plant, and then if there's some left over, then that'll be.
We will plant some and we will have contractors that will plant others. There's no way my staff will be able to do that quantity. I mean, we're talking right now about 125 trees a year. So, because they've moved up the time frame. We had it originally set up to be 5 years and they moved it up to 4 years. So we have about 125 trees a year to do over the next 4 years. So we're gonna have to use some contract labor. We'll be trying to hire some local folks to help us with that. That'll be their summer job, if you will, during planting season. So.
I make a motion to approve the contract for the Sustainable Forestry Initiative USDA Urban Forestry Grant with Gigi as the signer, yeah. Signer, yeah.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the contract for Sustainable Forestry Initiative, USDA Urban Forestry Grant with, as amended to have Gigi Dennis sign. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the contract for the Sustainable Forestry Initiative USDA Urban Forestry Grant as amended to allow for City Manager Gigi Dennis to sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. All right, we'll go to staff proposals, reports and actions, Kids Connection.
So I just threw together some information for you guys, because we just finished today, we just finished our 4th week of summer, and it's been a rough one. But summer kicks off our annual enrollment for our kiddos. We already have 98 kids enrolled in our summer program. Of those 98, 89 have actually attended at least one day. We have 9 kids on the list that haven't come yet, but will attend at some point this summer, or parents just enrolled them so that if they wanted to come and hang out with us, they could. What was it? Where was it? Oh, it's already been like the longest week of my life. I have already prepared and cooked 904 meals in these 4 weeks. And one of those weeks was only 3 days. So I spend a lot of time in the kitchen with breakfast. All I do is I prep food, cook food, serve food, then I do dishes. And then I repeat it. I repeat it like a couple more hours. And then when I'm all done, I get to clean the kitchen. And I don't like, when I go home, I don't cook anymore.
Well, you kind of decided to be the house mom for half the community.
Lunch lady wasn't part of the plan, but it's the only way to feed our kiddos, since we lost our sponsor this year. So I took it on fully. On Tuesday and Wednesday, I will have a representative from the state to come down and monitor my meal service program, to make sure that we are fully compliant. We used to have a sponsor that would do all of that for us, and I would send her my meal check forms. I tell her how many kids we served, and she took care of everything else. This year I've taken it on 100% myself. So I'm doing all of the ordering, all of the menus, all of the admin work, and submitting receipts and stuff to get reimbursed from the state in order for us to carry through with our summer meal service program. The same thing happened with our after school snack program. So I will be working with CACFP through the state of Colorado, or through the Department of Public Health, to take on the after school meal programs as well. So while I'm doing summer food service program, I'm getting prepped for after school already. But it provides meals for our kids, and it's much needed. They're a lot easier to manage when their bellies are full and they don't have a reason to complain about anything. July 11th, I will be presenting to the El Pomar Regional Council. They've reached out to youth serving organizations that help or work with youth and deal with mental health with youth. Just really any aspect with youth, and they have $5,000 to $10,000 to give away. So I'm doing a 4-minute presentation to convince them that my organization needs $5,000 to $10,000. I have like 15 different plans, so I'm just trying to figure out which one to present for them. But we are guaranteed $1,000 just for our time. So Kids Connection will get $1,000 from Alpomar just for me going and presenting a 4-minute presentation, whether we're awarded the $5,000 to $10,000 for our project or not. So I figured it was worth the time to spend 4 minutes to get $1,000 for Kids Connection. We are gearing up or we're already started prep work for our award-winning float again this year. Putting it out there. So look out for us. We're really excited about it. Stampede Parade Committee has changed some of the parameters for judging the float, which we're really excited about because we try to go above and beyond what their expectations are. We do this fully for the kids because I remember growing up and coming to a parade. The floats were the coolest thing to see, and lately it's just been like some trucks and not much excitement. So I'm hoping that our parade will, or our float will put a smile on everyone's face. And that's really it. I can say that in all the time that I've worked with kids, they have definitely leveled up, and it's taking a lot to understand how to work with this new generation of kids. So if you see any of our Kids Connection staff members, I think they would appreciate coffee if anyone wants to buy them coffee, or a box of Kleenex, because we've had a lot of tears this year. Only 4 weeks into the summer, but we're enjoying it. But we all cried out at the end of the day because it's been a challenge. So come hang out with us. I don't have words for it. I honestly don't have words. I have never anticipated the amount of challenges that are being thrown at me this year. Never in my life would have thought that I would be dealing with some of the issues I'm dealing with at Kids Connection. I mean, I have lots of theories around it, but that could be a conversation for another day. But yeah, I'm serious. Come walk into our doors and you'll understand. They're just, I don't know. My kids are grown, so maybe I'm just so far out of like the young kid zone and parenting that I don't have many words for it. But
My kids aren't grown, but I'd rather chew my leg off than go run Kids Connection.
we truly enjoy sending them home at the end of the day.
I
But
guarantee you do, yeah.
those 10 hours, I can tell you, are the longest 10 hours ever, and you're kind of just like,
Are you fully staffed?
no, I'm not.
Still looking for people?
Not really. We were fully staffed when we started the summer, but I had one staff member only make it 3 days. And decided it just wasn't for her, so she left. So we lost that position. We adjusted, and it's kind of become the norm for us to not be able to run 3 full groups. The staff member was part of that middle school age group of kiddos, and it really takes a special individual to deal with those kiddos, because they will push you to your breaking point really quickly if you're not tough enough to stand your ground. So we've just combined our 3rd through 5th grade group with our middle school kiddos. And so now I have, instead of having 2 staff with an AmeriCorps volunteer in there, we have 4 staff members with 2 AmeriCorps volunteers. So we've given them all of the extra support that we can. And then my K through 2nd grade group, which you would think would have been the most challenging because they're so little, has been the easiest group. Well, I keep knocking on when I would say that. But they're like 90% of that group are brand new kiddos. We've never seen them before. I only have 4 returning after school kids that are attending the summer program. The rest of them are brand new. And this week alone, I signed up 7 kids for that room. So.
You guys are amazing. I'm not sure how you do it.
You and your staff
We try.
do a good job. I think you guys do.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much for what you do.
Right,
I'll be dropping my kids off here in 20 minutes, so
Gotta wait till Monday.
never mind, defund her.
chew your leg off.
That's just.
Council committee, city commission, and council reports. Councilor Lorenz. Your report. Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Enjoy the weather, get outside, get active, go on walks, take your dogs on walks. There you go.
Council Watson.
I talk enough during the meeting.
Well, see something, say something for everybody. And I mean, anything you see, strange things have been going on, just pay attention to it, just make a call. One of those 700 and some calls, so these guys at least know that there's people watching. For the PD. And then, Rob handed me this paper. They got a call with the water folks from the Rio Grande, and they're expressing a little concern for enhanced stream flow and excessive rain Friday and Saturday. If the heavy rains do verify, they need to be concerned about local streams flooding and action stage for the Rio Grande and Del Norte and Alamosa. Current thoughts are that there will be heavy rains. It's just a matter of how much. I'd have advanced flows and flooding in the back of your minds, perhaps in Alamosa, and enhanced stream flow along the Rio Grande may cause an issue for transient folks with camps if they have them. So please, while you're out there camping over the weekend, fishing, whatever, pay attention, keep an eye on your little kids running around the streams. And with that, when's our next meeting? You need, I'm sorry.
July 17th. Or July 18th, sorry. July 18th.
July 18th.
Yes, sir.
So we will adjourn the meeting until July 18th, 6 p.m. City Hall. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Marie.
Hi. Have a good night.
You as well.
I made it, I didn't go sleeping.